to share with you now some various techniques for self-holding, which can be very calming for the nervous system and can help bring in that sense of co-regulation, as well as perhaps some pressure or that sense of having the holding experience or the being held experience. Yeah. And so I'm going to start with the thumb hold. I, in the past, have called this adult thumb suckling. However, some of my clients have said that that phrase is triggering for them. So I call it a thumb hold these days. So if you like, you can bring one hand up and then hold that thumb with the other hand and wrap the other hand on top. And then you can place your hands in your lap and notice what emerges for you next, which for me is a breath. And then I'm settling back into the back side of my body. Some of you are probably noticing a shift in my voice, a shift in the softening around my eyes, and a shift in my facial expression. Yeah. You can try the other thumb and see if there's any difference from one thumb to the other. Most people have a preference, and for some folks, the thumb holding doesn't do anything for them, and that's okay too. I think that this comes back to that feeling right there. Now, you can also do the double thumb hold. Yeah. I love hoodies where I can do the thumb holding inside the hoodie pockets. I also love my shirt dresses that have pockets where I can do the double thumb hold, one in each pocket. Back in the day when I first started teaching, I would have a freeze response if I saw you looking at me while I was looking at you, and I couldn't teach unless my eyes were closed and the lights were turned down. And then more and more people started coming to my classes, and that was when I discovered this as something that I could do in front of a room that would help me to be able to access a more depthful presence. To extend upon the thumb hold, we then have the head hold. Yeah. So perhaps you can try on a hand to the forehead and a hand to the back of the head at the base of the skull. And then to play with, placing your head in your hands on your neck in the way that feels just right for you and with the amount of pressure that feels just right for you. And then for some of us, it's actually the pressure around the top of the head. One of my friends who's a doula says that when working with infants, this pressure at the top of the head can be incredibly comforting because it takes the infant back to the in utero feeling of this pressure against the head. And many of us have this body memory in such a way that the right amount of pressure at the top of the head just feels so sweet. I know that for myself, I actually sleep with a pillow that's actually resting against the top of my head. And that gentle pressure helps my nervous system to be able to fall asleep. And when I wake up during the night, I find myself pushing up against that pillow or pulling it back down on top of me. And then I'm back asleep again. Yeah. So from here, I'd like to share with you some body holds. So if you like, I invite you to place one hand under an armpit and the other arm across you. And notice what emerges for you. Yeah. For some of us, we actually like to have this hand holding the face. And for some folks, it's not the hand holding the weight of the head, but rather the arm underneath around the belly. And so my encouragement is to feel into what feels most right for you. I also use this self-hold with certain clients and with certain family members, where this arm allows me to have a sense of boundary within me, and then I can use this arm, this hand, to emote, to gesture, to express with. Yeah. And this helps me to observe and not absorb. so that I can observe the drama in my family without becoming absorbed by it. Or I can be with my clients without that feeling of overwhelm, that perhaps it might be a bit too much for me. I can actually be with you. For others, this is the self-hold that is helpful and works. Yeah. And some folks also like the hand over the shoulder and the arm underneath, or both arms over the shoulder. I also like to slide my hands underneath my clothing, and to have tank tops or bra straps actually hold my hands in place. And in this way, my neck and my shoulders can actually be relaxed. So the body pretzel is an option that I used to give to folks at the end of yoga class. So instead of shavasana or corpse pose or resting pose where you're lying there open, I found that many folks like to do this and cross at the ankles. So I'll talk you through it. Reach both hands forward, one wrist on top of the other wrist, and then thumbs up. Yeah. Roll thumbs outwards and down, interlace hands, slide hands underneath, hands on chest, chin on hands, cross at the ankles. So this is a way of coming back to center, coming back to self, that can be useful for many of us. And then while I'm talking about sensory stuff, I have here my emotional support sweater. So I've got my Angora sweater on. Angora rabbits, Angora goats. I mean, they're pretty cute. So my emotional support animal that I'm wearing. And I find that this brings a sense of calm for me. Just having the felt sense that I'm like petting another being. And I also find that when I wear this sweater, other people hug me and they're rubbing their hand on my back, which is very calming for me. And it's also calming for the other person. So I invite you to play with the fabrics and the textures that bring about a sense of ease for you. I also quite like sharing with my clients, and I'll share it with you now, some various holds that you can use props for. So the first one is a big scarf. And with this big scarf, I get to tie a double knot. And then I get to pull the scarf down and rest my elbows inside. And then my hands get to be relaxed. And it's almost like that swaddle feeling, except my arms and hands are actually available. And this then allows my neck and my shoulders to be relaxed. And this can actually be a fun thing to do with clients, because then they actually get to tell you, oh no, make the knot tighter or make the knot looser. Yeah, so that they can get to practice asking for what they want and what they need from you. Now, we can also experience the same thing with hoodies. And so the hoodie experience allows me, especially with a hoodie that's the right size, where it's a little bit tight, I can get that feeling of having my elbows be supported. Yeah, while my neck and shoulders are relaxed, I can perhaps stick my arms out. And then Brian, come over here. Can you take the arms of the hoodie and tie it underneath my elbows, please? Yeah, nice and tight. No, not underneath, but so that my elbow, so that the, so
right on your elbows.
All right, on my elbows, yes. And then the other one right on my elbow.
This
And can
Houdini.
you adjust this one so it's under the elbow?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy right now. And you know, part of this happiness is also the top of the hoodie. I get to pull it down and get that pressure against the top of my head. Oh, it's so blissful. It's so, so blissful. And so if this is blissful for your clients, then something that I can suggest that's available these days is a compression sleep sack. So let me show you mine. So I'm going to share with you now my compression sleep sack that I sleep in every night. It's right here. And I'll slide myself in it. And so the model that I bought actually has holes for the feet. Yeah. Some people like to have the feet totally enclosed. I have a flight part that says, I need to be ready to run. So hence my model has the feet sticking out. And then many nights I sleep like this so that my arms are out, but I get this compression around the chest. And then some nights I actually pull up the bottom part so I get the pressure around the hips. And then I'll show you the full cocoon. So I get the pressure against the top of the head. I get to have my arms wherever I like. I quite like sleeping like a little sea otter. And then during the night, if I move outwards, I get that compression against my body, that proprioceptive pressure that can be so calming, soothing, and downregulating. I wear a biometric device, and the quality of my sleep has actually improved significantly since getting myself a compression sleep sack. And yet prior to these being available on the market, what I would do is I would actually create for myself a pillow womb with a pillow against the top of my head and then pillows either side of my body, so that when I would roll around during the night, I would get that felt sense experience of being held, of being swaddled, of having something right there against me that would give me a sense of I'm okay. And then, you know how we talk about not wearing pants when you're on Zoom? Well, I actually wear the bottom half of my sleep sack for many times when I'm on Zoom, because it just feels so wonderful to have that compression against my low body. And yet prior to me having a compression bag to put my body into, I would actually wear a lot of compression clothing and weighted blankets are also incredibly down-regulating for so many of us. Also gives us that proprioceptive pressure. And what I've found, especially with the wearing of a biometric device, is that all these body hacks that I've shared with you, they add, a few percent. Everything that I do adds a few percent to my overall well-being throughout the course of the day, so that I don't end up fried. I don't end up with sensory overwhelm by the end of my day or the end of my week. And then I'm not struggling to override the messages that my nervous system is giving to me around needing to compensate for what is happening in my body in response to my body's interaction with the world around me. And my life is better.